If you're ever really going to be a successful, profitable trader or investor, there is something that you need to learn to accept. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about one of the keys to flipping the switch from being a losing trader to a winning trader. And we're talking about losses today, so stay tuned. Let's get into this one right now. So losses are not as shiny as some of the other concepts that we could talk about on this channel. And a lot of times when I talk about these sort of concepts, the videos tend to get less views. Little hint for you, what I found is that if you're watching my channel, the videos that have the most views, a lot of times they're still helpful and I think that they're probably still a value add, but I think some of the best videos are the videos of mine that don't have a lot of views because sometimes they're not the fun, exciting topics that everybody wants to hear about that are also very, very important to actual trading success. It's kind of like when everybody starts going to the gym and they love it for like a week or two and they get into it, but then they lack that consistency and the real dedication that actually takes to make a difference. Myself, I'm still working on that. That's something that's kind of a personal goal for me. I've been trying to go to the gym, trying to get better at that because it is something that's mentally difficult for I think everybody, and it's not like people who love the gym, they still find times where it's hard to motivate themselves to get into the gym and to do the tough things. So when we talk about trading, this is a topic I think that is a tough topic for a lot of people. It's not fun, it's not exciting, it's not huge wins and letting massive profits run, which are also parts of trading that are important, but they're a little bit more exciting, they're a little bit more fun to talk about. Today's topic is not as fun, but also equally as important. Today we're talking about losing trades, and we're talking about how, as a successful trader, you have to accept that losses are inevitable and they are part of the game. Now, there's two topics that I want to talk about today, or two types of losses that I want to talk to you guys about that I think will hopefully make a difference in your own trading journey. So loss number one, the loss type number one, if you will, is the trading mistakes based loss. Now, a lot of times people talk about analyzing their losers. And again, that's why we have type 1 losses and type 2 losses. But today we're talking right now exclusively. First, we're going to start with type 1 losses. And this is where you make a dumb trading mistake. This might be a not following your trading plan mistake. This might be a taking too big of a lot size position if you're trading forex, or too many shares if you're trading stocks. And this might be something that is emotionally driven, some sort of dumb mistake that we all make. To this day, I've been trading for 5 years and I still occasionally make dumb mistakes. That's something that we as humans happen to just keep doing, right? A lot of times we have to learn the same lessons over and over again. And so when we talk about a type 1 loss, when we're talking about losses that are purely human error, purely being arrogant or greedy or fearful, or letting our emotions get the best of us, or putting on way too much of a position size because we want to go all in on this one. These are the types of loss mistakes that are crucial to overcome as a trader and to minimize to the point where you hardly ever make these mistakes, if ever, because these kind of mistakes can cost you your account. They can cost you your whole trading career, really. You can make so many good wins, you can make so much good progress, and let one dumb mistake, and I'm talking to somebody behind the camera because I know that somebody in the audience, myself included, that's why I know it so personally, I've made these mistakes before. I've made a lot of progress and then given up a ton of the profit, a ton of the progress in one dumb trading mistake. So that's type 1, and those are very, very common, and that is going to be a concept of discipline and consistency. You have to just learn from your experiences. We were talking about it the other day on the live stream that honestly, nothing is sufficient enough to teach you except for your real own experience. I can talk to you guys about these concepts. I can share my own ideas and insight as much as I can, as much as I want to, but at the end of the day, a lot of times, sometimes it really takes learning it for yourself. I'll tell you guys a short, brief story about taking a loss that taught someone that I know something important, and it's not even trading related, but it can apply. So the last weekend, I was at the lake with my girlfriend and her family, and her little brother was playing on a skateboard that he had just gotten, and everybody said, don't go play on the skateboard until you have knee pads. And sure enough, we get there, he's having a good time, and he wants to go take out the skateboard. He says, no, I'm gonna be fine, it's easy, you just get on the board and go. Sure enough, he falls over, scuffs his knee, and says, oh, I see why this is hard now, I need knee pads. That right there, even though it's a kid, an 8-year-old kid that learned that lesson, is applicable to traders of all ages, because you make those sort of mistakes for yourself and then you understand them. A lot of times I can tell you that you should not do something, but it doesn't make any sense to you until you actually go figure it out for yourself. Same thing with me. I make dumb mistakes all the time in areas, and then I learn what people already told me to focus on. That's kind of the way humans are. We have to learn from our own experience for it to really make sense. Somebody can tell you you shouldn't do something, but you only really learn a lot of times by experiencing it yourself, or if you're really open-minded, just listening to somebody else and listening to their experiences. So type number one loss, again, problems with risk management, problems with your emotional discipline, right? You can't stick to a plan, whatever. Those sort of mistakes happen for a lot of new traders, and they are just problematic. Now, type number two loss is a little bit more advanced, and it happens to everybody, but only more advanced traders will recognize a type 2 loss. And type 2 loss, let me do my best to define it. Basically, a type 2 loss is not necessarily a mistake. It is just a casualty of war. It is just an expense to your trading business. And what I mean by this is, let's say that you take a good setup, you stick to your plan, you take the trade with proper position sizing, and you don't make any sort of emotional or psychological discipline mistakes. It just trails into a stop, or it just moves against you and you take a loss on the trade. This is a type number two loss because you didn't make any sort of fundamental to your strategy, to your plan, to your discipline mistakes. You purely just had a trade that didn't go well. Whether you were right or wrong about your analysis and the trade just didn't work out, this is a type number two loss. And this is so important. If you're still here in the video with me, because I know a lot of times people trail off, they get bored of these subjects. If you're still here with me, then awesome. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if this was helpful to you, because this sort of topic is something that I'm very passionate about. I know it's not as interesting on YouTube, but it's very, very important to people who are serious about their trading, because those type number two losses are so critical to identify and be okay with, okay? Because this is where the title of the video, trading and having losses is inevitable. You will lose, and that's okay. It's okay to accept losses as long as they have met your criteria for an entry, for a trade, and you've purely just had a trade that didn't work out. That is an okay loss, and by all means, that is still a good trade, okay? So I'll say that again. A loss that is stuck to your plan, you've done everything right, is actually still a good trade. I don't define a good trade as dollar signs printed into my account. That's not what a good trade is to me. A good trade to me is a trade where I kept my position size realistic, I kept my trading plan intact, and I did what I was supposed to do, and the profit and loss is irrelevant to how good of a trade it was. Now, of course, it's much nicer when trade hits profit and you make money, but what we're doing here, when we take a type 2 loss and we take it and we say, okay, that's fine, this happens. We are encouraging ourselves to do the right thing and to stick to a good habit that in the long run, if you've backtested your concepts, if you've done everything that you should in terms of your homework and building strategies, still should be okay, okay? Performance is not a straight up line. It's a diagonal line to the upside. Hopefully, if you know what you're doing, you've stuck to a plan that you've tested and things are good overall, okay? So accepting those type 2 losses are really the key to becoming a successful trader, because you cannot trade without taking losses, and if you can't not accept losses or internalize them and be okay with them, then you can't keep doing this. It's as simple as that. So I hope today's lesson on losses was helpful to you. I know, again, not as exciting as other topics, and I hope that you'll stick around, maybe subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up if this one was helpful to you. I know that some people may need to hear this, and I'm speaking from my own experience and to myself in some ways in this sort of video, because losses are okay. I took a couple losses last week and a few this week, so when you're on a losing streak, it's important to recognize that and to internalize, well, are these trades okay? Am I doing the right thing, or am I making some really dumb mistakes? You'll kind of have to critically, objectively analyze your trades, both good and bad, to continue to optimize yourself as a trader and to continue to improve and make progress in this journey. This is a path where there is nonstop learning. I'm always going to be learning in the markets as long as I'm in them. There's never a you know everything now. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope this has been a good little wake-up call for some of you guys who are out there struggling with this. And we will see you back in the next video. Thanks.